No, I want, no, and then a press, no chance.
Well,
what, a single arm pull down, then a bent row?
And then a press. And then you can do whatever you want.
No, but that's just, that's weird sequencing. I mean, it is only 2 pulls, so I could, yeah, okay, I'm down.
I knew I'd get him. I knew I'd tempt him into it. Right. You ready?
Yeah. Don't know if I'm ready to train, actually. First session back.
Don't stand close, because I'm dieting now. You stand further back. Stand out there. No, there's fine. Hi guys, welcome back to YouTube. I hope you can hear me alright. Reese is back. He's been on holiday for 2 weeks, but he's finally back. He's just moaned about the holiday the whole time he's been here, so cheers for the update.
It's not his fault. I had to get dragged out of the pool. I was in the pool and my nose was bleeding.
Mate, you need to look after yourself.
No, it's fine. No, it's not his fault.
Yeah, just got fed up with tonight basically. And fell down some stairs, but he's alright now. Apparently he can't walk, but he was walking on the treadmill fine. He's walked over here fine, so I think he's over-exaggerating a little bit.
A little bit.
So today is Wednesday, the 17th of August. And it's back day for me, upper day for Reese. We're going to do bits and bobs together, but the whole session won't be together. I'm now 6.5 weeks into the diet, the pre-prep diet, and I am...
Can we see?
I'm 24 pounds down. So I'm happy with that, to be fair, so far. And I spoke about it in the last video, me and Shannon are going away. I want to get to 200 pounds or under 200 pounds by then, so I got... Sorry, I'm shouting over the music. So I got about 3 and a bit weeks until then.
When are you going?
8 pounds in 3.5 weeks. Easy
What's
job.
the date? Where are you going?
Where?
What's the date you going?
9. So yeah, first movement, single arm pull down. I've covered this plenty of times, so I won't go through it now. And then we've got body rows.
On my right side. Did you see the boogie thing that I did? I fell, mate, my left ankle, no.
What's wrong with you?
I fucked myself up properly. I fell from the...
You fell off that as well?
No. Going down the bus, you know the bus that picks you up? My ankle, I rolled, my left ankle gave way on the step, and I literally, mate, fell straight into the door. So I'm out of the bus, and the door opens like this, and I fell onto like my bicep tendon. And it literally gets to a point where like I can't even flex my bicep.
Mate, you're broke.
Yeah, honestly,
you know what it is? It's all the gear use.
Yeah.
All the gear use has got you off balance.
I got so many random comments. Like I had people walk by. I had one guy walk by me and he just goes, "Steroida, not good." And I just went, "Cheers, mate, thanks."
It's not good. Not good for you, kids. Don't do it.
Come on. Solid. Can I say one thing, Pete? It's the only thing I'm going to say in the entire video. It has been 3 weeks since I've had a haircut, and I've never been on a video 3 weeks without a haircut, so excuse the haircut. I'm going to get an Eden Hazard trim. So Pete, type in Eden Hazard in footballer. This is all going Friday. So Pete, type in Eden Hazard in footballer. This is all going Friday. It's going.
My video, mate, no one cares.
That's what I said.
but it was stuck in there. There was a pigeon that was stuck in my flat. It was stuck in there, and it was under, basically that's under my feet where I do my work. So for the past 3-4 days, I've been shitting myself every hour or so. Now and again it's just gone shh, and I'm like, oh. So I've been jumping loads when I'm doing check-ins, but luckily they came and got it out. But it's been a bit of a fucking nightmare. But luckily it was alive, it was safe. The guy, the pest control guy, just threw it out the window and it just flew off. He was like, oh, I'm just gonna hope for the best, hope it's all right and I'll throw it. Just went and it flew off. It was fine.
Lovely. Good.
You heard the Christmas song? Fucking weird. Fucking strange, mate. It was on last week as well. Because it's like a, I don't know, a remix version. I think they just think it's acceptable, I guess. It's not acceptable.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
My hip's so tight, yeah. As much as it's nice now and again, like imagine if like you just didn't have a meal plan, you didn't track how many carbs you were on. Like some sessions you'd film
I just track protein.
Sometimes you
I
feel
track
shit.
protein. I track protein and calories.
Yeah.
I have 200 grams of fat one day and then 40 grams of fat one day. And I keep going hypo. What?
Don't know what's wrong with
Yeah,
it.
my blood sugar levels are all over the place. And some days I feel really pumped, some days I don't. But I just track protein.
Some days I like eat every 4 hours, other days I just have one meal all day and I don't know why I feel shit the next day.
Good. Clever that. Really clever. Really clever, mate. You left a 50-50 there. In a deficit, that would have instantly spelled a deload.
It's not worth it.
Really clever. That's when you can tell experience. There was a 50-50 rep there and Finn didn't go for it.
That one rep I'd have just been in a hole that I just can't recover from.
Can't feasibly get out of while you're in a calorie deficit. It's just not possible.
Such an extreme deficit as well, as a natural athlete as well.
As a natural athlete?
Yeah, I'm a natural athlete.
How harsh of a deficit are you in?
Really hard.
How many pounds? Are you losing more than a pound and a half a week?
I'm almost losing, I'm between 1.5 to 2% of my body weight per week.
What?
So basically with this, what I'm doing is putting my quad against here just to help with a little bit more stability. But also, because this is quite a low row, starts here, sort of aligns things a little bit easier than it almost feeling a little bit too low when you sat down. And then I'm angling my body away slightly so that my arm's slightly coming across the body. So basically I'm doing this kind of movement, which is pretty much aligning with the upper division of the lats. I think people often overthink, for example, like the single arm pull down, we're not only hitting the lower lat or the iliac lat, we're biasing that, but you're still going to hit majority of your lat. Same with like a chest press. You can do a decline chest press, and yeah, you're going to maybe prioritize or bias the costal fibers a little bit more, but your whole chest still going to get hit. So generally, to keep it relatively simple, do some version of a vertical pull down, some version of a horizontal row, trying to keep them lat dominant. In the best sense of doing that, or the best sort of basic terms of doing that, is trying to not work through too much scapular protraction and retraction. You keep your scapula pretty much in its position and you row with the elbow without twisting or without retracting too much, then ultimately you're going to target the lat, same from above. So to keep it very basic, do a form of a pull down and a form of a row without trying to move your scapula. That's your lat work done really. And then when you're trying to hit your upper back, allow the scapula to move like I did on the bent row, like I'll do on a pull down later on for a bit more upper back. And similar in terms of a pull up, which I'll do, which is for like the teres major, which I'll come on to. But again, it's going to bias that maybe a little bit more, but it doesn't mean it's not targeting anywhere else. In terms of lat work, I prefer to do my lat work unilateral, so one side at a time, just because I connect better that way and I can align my body exactly how I want. For example, if I did this dual arm, I could still make it more lat dominant by keeping the scapula fixed, going into a neutral or semi-supinated grip and dragging the elbows in nice and tight. But I can manipulate my torso in a way where I can align perfectly how I want and get a better connection. And also, when you do something unilateral, you tend to be able to have more internal focus on that one side. So I prefer to do my lat work unilateral, but like for example, for clients who are restricted for time, like let's say they have 45 minutes to train or an hour and a bit to train, generally I'll get them doing more so dual arm or bilateral lat work. So if you've got enough time, I'd recommend unilateral. If you push for time, then bilateral is fine. A little bit more technical to get a good connection and obviously the alignment, but you'd be fine if you're restricted for time. I've just done 2 sets on the same load, so you can just say 2 straight sets. So there's no magic behind like a top and back off set approach. Ultimately, the most important thing is your execution is good and accurate and safe, and your effort is there. If I did a set of 8 and then a set of 15 versus doing a set of 10 and a set of 9 on the same weight, which I've just done, it's not going to lead to any more growth. I like the back off, top set back off approach in terms of like a psychological standpoint. When you do the back off set, it feels a lot lighter because you've just done a heavier set. But for something like that, like an isolation where the primary focus is getting a real good internal feel, then doing 2 sets on the same load is absolutely fine. And I do that on quite a few things now.
Seats doing the seats fucked.
So I have pull-ups in, so they're like a calisthenic movement, so basically like a body weight movement, or where I'm moving my body rather than moving a weight. I quite like a pull-up. It's a basic movement, it's a basic compound movement. Like I said earlier, this is the movement in the session that's a bit more focused on the teres major, which is like the muscle group above the lats basically. Again, it's not going to solely target that, it's going to bias that a bit more. Going to get a little bit of bicep, a little bit of rear delt, a little bit of rhomboid, even a little bit of mid and lower trap with the sort of retraction and depression of the scapula. Again, this is a movement that I just do 2 straight sets on, so I don't have a top set and a back off set. 2 bodyweight sets. Generally, they've been progressing as I've been getting a little bit lighter as well. Obviously, it's been getting a bit easier. But yeah, like I said earlier, you don't need to have that top set, back off set. But yeah, I quite like to have these in. I quite like to have these in the gaining phase as well. Obviously, if you're getting heavier, again, even if you're maintaining reps, even if over time, let's say you put on 20, 30 pounds, if you're still able to do bodyweight pull-ups, that's a decent progression, unless the form's gone to shit. But yeah, I do quite like a pull-up, feels good. And also, there's a guy who, he's a natural guy. Forgotten his name now, so shout out to Mitch Jarve. He does pull-ups religiously, and he is a very, very good natural bodybuilder. That's not to say that pull-ups just make you a good natural bodybuilder, but often success does leave clues, and he's good at pull-ups, and he's got a very good physique, he's got a good back, he's just got a good physique. So what I'm doing here is an upper back pull down. Obviously I've had the bent rows, which are very much upper back dominant anyway, but within this session I feel like I can definitely get away with a little bit more volume. My back tends to recover pretty well, to be honest. And also, I'm going to do something which I am rather against usually, but because I've already had a good amount of upper back movement or upper back sort of stimulus with the bent row, with this movement I'm not going to use straps because I want to train my grip strength a little bit as well on this. My forearms are shite, so I'm going to put one movement in this where the focus is upper back, but also a little bit on grip strength, a little bit on my forearms. So obviously I don't do anything, every single movement that I do, I use straps so that my forearms aren't the limiting factor. But on this, it's almost like an accessory movement to an upper back movement I've already done, so it's also going to focus a little bit more on the forearms. Reese has got a top on that's 4 sizes too small for him. Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's good. Yeah? That's alright. So basically on this, like I say, upper back focus, so I'm leaning back. A lot of the time people will think like, oh, you need to be staying vertical when you're doing a pull down. But the goal isn't to do that. I've literally just done that with a pull up. Yeah, the goal is to almost turn this into a bit of a row, if you like. Yeah, so I'm leaning back more, so it's very much upper back focused. And also you'll notice that I'm pretty much keeping my torso fixed. There might be a little bit of torso movement, but I'm not sitting up with it and then chucking it back and using torso momentum. I'm keeping the torso angled back at, say, 20-30 degrees, staying here, driving the elbows back nice and high. So it's very similar to doing that kind of movement. Obviously, as I'm leaning back, yeah, I'm basically creating a row on a pull down. Massive forearms incoming. So this is basically a rear delt isolation. So the primary function of the rear delts is horizontal abduction, which is basically that, bringing the humerus away from the midline of the body, obviously against load. So that's what I'm doing there. Elbows out, trying to keep the shoulders protracted slightly, or at least preventing them from fully retracting and letting the rhomboids and the traps take over. And what I'll also do to just extend it a little bit, so to extend the set, I will go from a straight arm to a bent arm when I'm struggling. So basically all I'm doing there is I'm reducing the angle slightly, so reducing the moment arm a little bit. Obviously the loading is still from the same point, but if I bring my arms in, I'm reducing that challenge of basically having to still, if you like, still work against the weight of the forearm. I'm bringing that into here, reducing that moment arm and making it a little bit easier to extend the set and get a few more reps. So that's 3 sets on that. Again, similar to what I said earlier, 3 sets, same load, all with good form, all to failure. Don't need to be doing a top set and a back off set really on that. If anything, for rear delts, I'd recommend doing a high rep set first, especially if you struggle to connect with them. But that was sort of 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps and then partials. Now, mate. literally just finished off on arms. Easy bar curl, more so in a slightly shoulder flexed position, allowing for shoulder flexion, and then into a single arm in shoulder extension, more so for length and range. But again, similar to what I said about the lats, you don't need to overthink it, it's just different angles basically. But I'm very flat at the minute, obviously with dieting and not being on a lot of food, so like pumps aren't great at the minute, but it is what it is. Like, I need to get leaner, so part of it. These are my current food targets, guys. So, training day, 250 protein, 280 carb, 32 fat. Rest day, 210 protein, 25 carb, which is just 5 trace carb in every meal, and 40, it's supposed to be 45 fat, but I'm on 44. So training day, 2,412 calories, rest day, 1,336 calories. Hence why I look very flat.
What's your CV expenditure at?
Cardio 6 times per week, half an hour on the recumbent bike, and steps are now 12k a day. They were 10k until the start of this week. I just escalated things a little bit because, again, I'm going on holiday. I want to be a bit leaner by then. And to be fair, once I get like sub 200, I'll start to reverse out. So, like, I'll still be in a deficit, but it'll be less of a deficit, and I'll start being a bit fuller.
A maintenance phase.
I won't have a maintenance phase.
You're not doing a maintenance phase?
No, mate, no. That'll come before the actual prep.
Oh yeah, it has to.
But no, I'll start reversing out, not in the sense of gaining weight, but in the sense of adding in some high days to improve the look in terms of fullness, while still being in a deficit, but just not as aggressive of one. So once I get sub 200, obviously I'll go away with Shannon, assess the look when I get back.
How long are you away for?
Like 10 days. So yeah, that's the plan. But I'll wrap it up here. You got anything to note, mate?
T-shirt's too small.
T-shirt is too small.
Don't buy them, they're too small.
Only for big lads.
Yeah.
We need to do the once you're in clothing.
We do.
That won't be too small. We'll make them nice and oversized. But yeah, podcast coming back on Mondays. This will be out. Podcast will be out by then. We had 2 weeks off because someone bottled it on holiday. Other than that, not much to know. I'm doing really well in the FPL. I'm 6th. Reese, his name's Can't Miss, and he's like 60th. So you fucking can miss because he's doing shite.
Am I 60th?
Yeah, you're struggling. I don't know, maybe not that, but you're low.
How am I 60th?
Because you're shit. Anyway, cheers guys. Thanks for watching. That was my back session. If you have any questions, let me know. Please ask in the comments. Appreciate everybody watching. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye guys.